Oklahoma coach Brent Venables adds to his staff with someone else also being targeted. I'm going to talk about who those two guys are and why it's a good move. All that coming up here in just a minute. What's good, everybody? It's your boy Jay here with Unfair Sports, where we take a pensive approach to the sports conversation. And here in this video, we're going to talk about Oklahoma's coach, Brent Venables, adding two more coaches to his defensive staff. I'll tell you about those two guys and why it's kind of a big deal. Coach Brent Venables has added to his coaching staff. So it looks like it's been announced that, well, it's rumored and announced all at the same time. We'll see which one is truly true. I haven't actually seen an official announcement yet. But Venables is adding Todd Bates to be his co-defensive coordinator as well as defensive line coach at Oklahoma. Bates comes with him from Clemson. He's been there since 2017 under Venables, and he's a part of some of those historic defensive lines that they had at Clemson in recruiting. It's kind of a big deal. So if you think about it, I remember Clemson's recruits and players back in those days. All-American Cleveland Farrell, Austin Bryant, Dexter Lawrence, Christian Wilkins. All of that had something to do with your boy Todd Bates. So I think that this is a great pickup for Oklahoma. It's going to add a great recruiter. He's only 38 years old. Someone that's hungry. He's going to get that co-defensive coordinator spot next to Ted Roof, who they announced as the defensive coordinator. And as soon as Ted leaves and takes himself a head coaching job, all of it goes to Todd Bates, and he can be DC as well as add a new D-line coach to help recruiting, or he can do both. You know, some coaches like to do that. They want to have their hands in certain things. So I think that's a really big pickup for Oklahoma, gives that stability, and it gives a guy that knows how to recruit against the SEC. Like I said, he was there at Clemson since 2017, helped with recruiting a lot of these great players, coached them up with Venables, so they'd be working in tandem together, which is also a plus, and bringing in those big guys that you need to be dominant in the future in the SEC. If you got a line play is the most important thing. If you noticed in the college football playoff, which we talked about, that the biggest thing is those SEC lines were beating up on everybody. That's just the game. Those Southern guys beat up on people. That line play, you got to have it. And Oklahoma's infamous for having really great offensive lines, having some okay to solid defensive lines, but still, if you've got a more dominant defensive line, even as great as your O-line is, look back at Oklahoma. What was that, 0-3 against LSU? That line gave up 4 sacks the entire season with Jason White at quarterback. LSU went out there with Spears and all of them, just muscled them. They not only muscled them, B, they spread them out and used their speed. That's something I think that Todd Bates is going to bring in with Venables with recruiting. So that's a big one. So then there's also rumors that there's another coach that Oklahoma is going after. And I think it's a good play. I don't know how excited I would be about this hire, but I think it's a good move and there's potential for preparation for the SEC. So what's this? On3 Sports has reported that Oklahoma is targeting Alabama defensive back coach Jay Valai. Now, Jay Valai he's been at Alabama this year. He spent 16-17 at Georgia, was a quality control coach. Let me go down his history. First off, actually, let me pull back up on that. First off, the dude's 33 years old, so he's young. He's a young guy, went and lived in Dallas and was running some fitness facilities or whatnot. Some training facilities in Dallas, Fort Worth, Metroplex. After he left Wisconsin, he was a 4-year letterman at Wisconsin. He went from there, and these are the jobs he's had. So 16-17, quality control coach at Georgia. 18, he was an assistant defensive back coach with the Chiefs. Left and went to Rutgers as a cornerback coach in 19. Cornerback coach in Texas in 20. And then in 2021, dude was moving. He got axed with Tom Herman when he got fired at Texas. Went to Houston for 12 days. Left Houston, went to the Philadelphia Eagles as the cornerback coach. After he got off the airplane, he jumped right back on the airplane and flew and became the cornerback coach for Alabama. And that's February. So that's January 20th. He was hired at Houston. February 1st, hired at Philadelphia. February 12th, hired at Alabama. And this is all in 2021. So he basically had 4 jobs in 2021. That's where my concern comes in. He's moving around a lot. Now, if Venables is targeting him, he must see something and think that he can keep him at least for a few more years before he goes off and becomes like a defensive coordinator or something. He must see something special out of him, especially since he's stealing them from Alabama. Now, that's the weird thing to me is why is he leaving Alabama? Now, I was looking through some of the message boards and stuff, and it appears that Alabama fans are okay with him leaving. I think he was going after Domani, the corner that ended up going to USC. Yeah, Domani Jackson. He's going to USC underneath Lincoln Riley, and everybody's kind of like, "Oh, how did he lose him to USC?" I think it's because Domani's from California, and it kind of makes sense to stay in California, stay home with the USC team that's most likely going to end up being good. I mean, I understand that a lot of you viewers, OU fans, don't like Lincoln Riley, but I think he's going to do good at USC. Just because I know, because he recruited so many kids out of California coming to Oklahoma, keeping them there. I think he'll be the one person that'll be able to keep a lot of the 5 stars from leaving. But that's a different conversation for another day that we talked about before. But there were Alabama fans not mad about Jay potentially leaving because he couldn't land Domani. Well, I think that Jay will do fine in the recruiting field. He'll be there with Venables. And I think Venables is a capable recruiter. We've seen him do really good things at Clemson in helping with that. So if Venables sees something special out of him, like I said, there's got to be a reason why he's bringing him here. So I'm going to go ahead and lean in trusting Venables if he does win Jay over to Oklahoma. And it's probably going to be a big deal. They're going to have the defense all set up. That's the entire staff. And they can hit the ground running on recruiting before signing day comes up in a couple of weeks. Todd Bates, defensive line coach and co-defensive coordinator, which is pretty dope. And then Jay Valet as the defensive backs coach is going to be probably a nice little setup of young coaches that are going to be hungry out there and about. So let's see what Oklahoma can put together with this. Hopefully this is not, of course, not the end. Hopefully they can go out there and win a whole bunch more players, make the magic happen. So Sooner fans, the future is still bright, even though we heard the Caleb Williams news recently.